Some gods were worshipped by millions, yet remained completely alone. They had temples, statues, prayers, offerings, rituals, priests, myths, and kingdoms that honored or feared them. But worship is not the same as closeness. To be worshipped is not always to be loved, and to be powerful is not always to be understood. Across mythology, there are gods who stand at the edge of existence. Gods of death, silence, exile, the moon, the underworld, forbidden knowledge, forgotten places, and lonely duty. They are necessary, respected, and feared, but rarely embraced. They stand between worlds, carrying responsibilities no one else wants to touch. This is one of mythology's most painful truths. Divinity does not always mean happiness. Human beings often imagine gods as perfect and complete, but myths tell another story. Gods may be immortal, but not free. They may rule kingdoms, but those kingdoms may be dark. They may hold knowledge, but knowledge may isolate them. They may carry power, but power may separate them from everyone else. The loneliest gods reveal a fear deeper than death, the fear of being necessary, but never truly loved. Hades is one of the clearest examples. In Greek mythology, he rules the underworld, the realm of the dead. Every mortal eventually enters his kingdom. Kings, warriors, children, poets, farmers, lovers, and enemies. Yet Hades is rarely celebrated like Zeus, admired like Apollo, desired like Aphrodite, or honored like Athena. He is avoided. His name was spoken with caution. His realm was feared. His presence reminded mortals of the truth they tried hardest to forget: everything dies. But Hades is not evil. He does not create death, hunt the living, or delight in suffering. He rules what must be ruled. He keeps the boundary between life and death. He receives every soul because someone must. That is the tragedy of Hades. He is necessary, but unwanted. No one wants to visit his kingdom. No one prays to reach him early. His power is absolute, but it is a power no one wants to approach. Even his love story with Persephone carries loneliness. Hades wants one companion in a realm no living being wants to enter. But Persephone belongs partly to the world above and partly to the world below. His love is tied to absence, return, grief, and winter. He is lonely not because he lacks power, but because his power places him where no one wants to go. Anubis carries a similar loneliness. In Egyptian mythology, he watches over embalming, mummification, tombs, and the journey of the soul. He guides the dead and stands near the scales when the heart is weighed against the feather of Ma'at. Anubis is present at the most vulnerable moment of human existence, after life has ended, but before the soul's fate is known. With the head of a jackal, an animal associated with cemeteries and desert edges, he transforms fear of decay into divine protection. But there is loneliness in that role. Anubis is not a god of feasts, love, victory, or sunlight. He is a god of transition, silence, and sacred duty. He attends the dead when the living can no longer follow. He knows every farewell, every tomb, every final prayer. He is revered, but reverence can still be distant. Thanatos, the Greek personification of death, is even more direct. Unlike Hades, who rules the dead, Thanatos is death itself, especially peaceful death. He is not war, murder, or rage. He is the final arrival, the closing of the eyes, the silence after breath. And because of that, he is feared by everyone. No matter how gentle death may be, humanity resists it. Thanatos represents one of the loneliest forms of divinity, the god who comes to everyone, yet is welcomed by almost no one. Some roles are isolating not because they are evil, but because they are unbearable to those who depend on them. The same loneliness appears in Hel, the Norse goddess of the dead. She rules a cold and shadowed realm where many of those who did not die in battle go after death. She is often described as half alive and half dead, half beautiful and half decayed. Her body is a boundary. Her existence is a contradiction. Hel is not simply a monster. She is the goddess of those who do not belong to glory. Valhalla receives warriors and songs remember heroes, but Hel receives the ordinary dead, those taken by sickness, age, weakness, accident, and quiet fate. She rules the afterlife most people will enter, but not the one most people dream about. There is loneliness in ruling the uncelebrated. Hell is the keeper of those whose deaths do not become legend. Her loneliness is the loneliness of all that is real but not romanticized. Tsukuyomi, the Japanese moon god, carries another kind of isolation. After he kills the food goddess Yukmachi, the sun goddess Amaterasu separates from him. From that moment, the sun and moon are divided, explaining why day and night are apart. Tsukuyomi becomes a god of separation. The moon is beautiful but distant. It reflects light but does not create daylight. It watches the world in silence. It belongs to night, reflection, cold radiance, and the hours when humans are alone with their thoughts. His loneliness is not the loneliness of death, but of estrangement. A relationship breaks, and the cosmos itself becomes divided. The sun goes one way, the moon another. Every night becomes a reminder that some separations become part of the order of the world. Odin, though surrounded by gods, warriors, ravens, wolves, and halls of glory, is also profoundly lonely. He is not lonely because no one knows him. He is lonely because he knows too much. Odin is the god of wisdom, war, poetry, magic, and death. But his wisdom comes at a cost. He gives one eye for knowledge. He hangs himself on Yggdrasil for 9 nights to gain the runes. He speaks with the dead. He searches for secrets because he knows Ragnarok is coming. This knowledge isolates him. He is a king who already sees the collapse of his kingdom. A father who knows many of his allies are doomed. A seeker who gains wisdom only to discover that wisdom cannot save everything. The loneliness of Odin is the loneliness of foresight. To know more than others is not always a gift. Sometimes it is a wall. He seeks knowledge to avoid the end, but every secret only makes the end clearer. Prometheus is another lonely figure. A titan, rebel, and benefactor of humanity, he steals forbidden fire and gives it to mankind. But the price is unimaginable. Chained to a rock, his liver is torn out every day by an eagle and grows back every night. His punishment is not only pain. It is repetition. It is the loneliness of endless consequence. He helps humanity, but humanity cannot free him. He defies the gods, but does not belong among them. He stands between worlds, too compassionate for the divine order, too divine to be human. Prometheus represents the loneliness of sacrifice. Some beings become lonely because they help others in ways that separate them from their own kind. They cross boundaries, give what was forbidden, and pay the price alone. Mythology understands that those who carry fire are often burned by it. Many lonely gods are connected to thresholds. Death is a threshold. Night is a threshold. Prophecy is a threshold. Memory is a threshold. Exile is a threshold. These gods stand at doors. They guide others through, but rarely belong fully on either side. Hermes, for example, is not usually seen as lonely, but as a psychopomp, a guide of souls. He moves between Olympus, Earth, and Hades. He belongs everywhere and nowhere. To cross all boundaries is to have no single place to rest. Lonely gods reveal the cost of living between worlds. And perhaps humans were drawn to them because we also know what it means to stand between worlds, between childhood and adulthood, love and loss, belonging and exile, faith and doubt, life and death, who we were and who we are becoming. The loneliness of gods feels human because power does not protect them from separation. Sometimes power causes it. A mortal may be lonely because they lack power. A god may be lonely because they have too much of it. This is one of mythology's deepest reversals. We imagine power would end loneliness, but myths say otherwise. Power can attract worship, but not intimacy. Fear can bring obedience, but not love. Immortality can preserve existence, but also prolong loneliness forever. The loneliest gods show how humans relate to what we need, but do not want to face. We need death gods because death exists, but we avoid them. We need underworld gods because the dead must go somewhere, but we fear their realms. We need gods of prophecy because we want the future, but hate what they reveal. We need gods of sacrifice because civilization depends on suffering, but we turn away from the one who suffers. We worship them from a distance. That distance is the source of their loneliness. And yet, these gods may be the most compassionate in their quiet way. Hades remains in the underworld. Anubis stands with the dead. Hell receives the forgotten. Thanatos comes at the end. Prometheus suffers for humanity. Odin carries knowledge of doom. Tsukuyomi lights the night from afar. They are lonely because they stay where someone must stay. Mythology asks us not only to fear them, but to recognize them. In human life, we know people like this. Those who care for the dying, carry family grief, remember what others avoid, make difficult decisions, protect others without celebration, or stand alone because someone has to. The loneliest gods are divine versions of these human roles. They remind us that loneliness is not always failure. Sometimes it is the shadow of responsibility. Sometimes it is the cost of wisdom. Sometimes it is the shape love takes when love cannot be easy. Sometimes it means standing close to truths others cannot bear to touch. Hades stands near death. Anubis stands near judgment. Hell stands near the forgotten dead. Tsukuyomi stands in the cold distance of night. Odin stands beneath the weight of knowledge. Prometheus stands inside the pain of sacrifice. Each reveals a different loneliness: duty, death, exile, wisdom, memory, sacrifice, and love divided by worlds. The bright gods show us what we desire. The lonely gods show us what we avoid. They show us death, duty, exile, sacrifice, memory, and the price of knowing too much. They remind us that not every sacred thing is warm. Some sacred things are cold, silent, and necessary. Perhaps the loneliest gods are not lonely because no one calls their names. They are lonely because everyone calls their names only when they are afraid. Thank you for watching this journey into the loneliest gods ever worshipped and the hidden sadness behind divine power, death, wisdom, and sacrifice. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more stories about ancient gods, dark mythology, forgotten realms, and the timeless emotions that still shape humanity today.